Hi guys, we're back with our third workshop, which today is about positive relationships and staying connected. Now, I know that at the moment with COVID-19 we've all found it a bit more difficult than usual, but the things that we're going to talk about today are relevant at any time, because we all know even before this that there's times that we had difficulties with our relationships. Today, of course, you need to get something to write with, pen or a pencil. You're also going to need a blank sheet of paper. If you've got sticky notes, that's great. But if not, I just want you to get out some cut out pieces of paper. Recycle bin will be great. While you're going to do that, we're going to show you someone baking today.
Daddy likes cookie show. Today, making cake. You ready? I'm ready. Okay, let's see. Get started. That piece. It's here. It's yummy.
Okay, this next bit is where your cut out paper or your sticky notes are going to come in. I'm using these wooden bricks because I already had them because I use them for other programs. And these are a whole bunch of values. So the first thing we need to understand when we talk about friendships or relationships is every relationship is based on values. Different values for different relationships and also different values for different people. I'm going to go through these real quickly so you understand what they all mean. Alright, loyalty. Loyalty is like having someone's back, knowing that they're there for you and that they're not going to go around and talk about you behind your back or cheat on you. Honesty, self-explanatory. Respect. Respect is a super important value in probably any relationship. Communication. Freedom. Now freedom is about, we don't own anyone. We don't own our friends. We don't own boyfriends and girlfriends. People need to be free to be who they are. Doing things together, stuff that you both enjoy. Love. Affection, hugs, kisses, holding hands, patting heads. Spending time together. Feeling safe when you're around that person. Having fun. Trust. Care and humour, being able to have a laugh together. Now, these are just some examples of relationship values. I think they're all pretty important, but there are other ones as well. This is not the whole list. And I'm going to go through now how different relationships have different values of importance. So let's start off with the parent-carer one, because it will help us understand the friend one in a minute. So I'm a parent-carer, I've also been a daughter, and I'm going to think about the three most important relationships, values that I put in relationship. So I'm going to start with love. I think as a parent and carer, I think as a kid, you want to be loved by your parent carer and you want to give love. So I'm going to put that down the bottom. What we're doing is building a foundation. So when you're building a house, the foundation is the most important part. If you don't get that right, the whole thing will fall apart. So these are foundational values. So it starts with love. Definitely feeling safe. We need to feel safe around our parents and carers. And affection. So for me, as a parent, as a carer, I think those three things are all really important. Now, we're going to build another layer of our wall. So after those three, I'm going to pick another two that I think are really important. So I think communication, being able to communicate and talk things through, and spending time together. That can get harder when you're a teenager because you don't always want to be around your parents and your carers, but spending time is important for that relationship. And then for me, I reckon fun. You want to have fun with your kids, you want to have fun with your parents or carers. Now, all of these values could have been included, but I want you just to pick 6, okay? And I want to show why. What we've done here is build what we call a relationship wall. And the reason it's important is it shows us what we really need. I'll give you the example. So if I take out love from this relationship, then the whole thing is just going to fall apart. So we could do the same with a brother or a sister, and we can do the same with our friends. Now, for instance, if loyalty is a really important quality in your friendship, and you think that your friends have to be loyal, but then you've got friends who are disloyal, or maybe they promised they'd come over and look after you and then they got a better invitation to go to the movies, then that friendship is also going to start to crumble and not be positive. So at the end of this, we're going to think about those 6 most important values in our friendship. Alright, the second part that I want to talk about today is a concept that was come up by a guy called Gary Chapman. So he did a lot of counselling with couples and families, and he found that quite often the problems they were having is they just didn't understand what was important to one another. So you need to first of all know what's important to you. Again, we'll do that at the end of the workshop. But you also need to think about the people you care about the most and the things that are important to them. So I was having a chat with my daughter before and we worked out what ours were. I'm going to go through them all now and we'll work out what yours are. So let's head upstairs because the first one is acts of service. So what do we mean by acts of service? Well, again, it depends on the person. At the moment, the dishwasher in our house is broken. So an act of service to show the people I live with that I care about them is I can do the dishes. Now this is the thing, do I like doing the dishes? No, not all acts of service are going to feel great. The other thing is don't be like, I'm doing the dishes for everybody. Try and keep it on the down low. If people notice, great, but remember you're doing it for them, not for you. Other simple acts of service, make people a cup of tea, a cup of coffee. Make the bed for somebody, particularly if you know they're having a hard time. If it's one of your friends, I don't know, take them out, do something fun with them. But acts of service are actually things that sometimes cost you a little bit, not in money but in time, but make the other people feel like they're noticed and valuable and that you care about them. Okay, the second one, and it seems kind of obvious, is about touch, physical touch and affection. Alright, now, touch. Not everybody loves it. I've got a friend who if I hug her, she hates it. So I don't hug her, okay? However, for a lot of people, just a little bit of affection, holding hands, giving someone a hug when you see them, patting them on the head, something that shows that you care about them through affection, particularly if they're having a tough time, can be really meaningful. Super, you need a hug. Number 3 is the perfect present. Now this doesn't mean spending a lot of money, and again, it won't matter to everybody, and we'll talk about that and I'll give you an example. Alright, why am I showing you a box of walnuts? I know, it looks like I lost it. The reason is, yesterday my friend Jane gave me these walnuts. And the reason she gave them to me is she knows I really like cooking. And she thought they were a really good product for cooking. So for me, it's the perfect present. Again, it doesn't need to cost much. It doesn't need to be something expensive. It can be something just simple and little that reminds you of them and shows that you've been thinking about them. Number 4, quality time. It can be really easy to spend a lot of time on our devices and get distracted and not actually spend face-to-face time. But for some people and for a lot of relationships, that's super important. So, quality time. As I said, it can be really easy for us to get caught up on our devices. Sometimes we're even sitting with our friends on the couch, not talking, just on our devices. That's not quality time. So I want you to put the phone down and go and do something else. Have some face-to-face time. Go and ask your friend if they want to play some sport. Go and see if your friend wants to make music. Go and see if your friend even just wants to go for a walk around the block and have a chat. Quality time means you create time without your devices. And the last one is words of affirmation. Affirmation doesn't mean just compliments. It means giving people stuff that boosts them up and makes them feel good about themselves. And stuff that's honest and that you've noticed about them. Okay, words of affirmation. As I said before, these have to be meaningful. You need to think about that person and things they do that you love, things about them that are fantastic, or just stuff that you notice. Even when you notice someone's having a really good hair day, just saying, you're having a great hair day can make a big difference. Or if someone does something and you think, wow, that's really talented, make sure you tell them. I think as Aussies we're really bad at this, and sometimes we miss out on it in our friendships, but it's really good for a positive relationship. So those are the 5 ones that were put out originally by this counsellor. But there's another one that's also been brought up, and that's called SOS. I'm in trouble, I need help. Why is this an act of love? Why is it positive for relationships? Because if you're not doing well and you don't ask for help, it's always going to impact on your relationships. If you jam up and you clam up and you don't talk about your feelings, it's probably going to come out another way. Maybe blowing up, maybe withdrawing. So asking for help is also part of having a positive relationship. I know we talked briefly about frenemies in our first workshop, but I just want to revisit because I think that if you go out and you do lots of beautiful things for someone and you pay attention to what they need and they take and take and take and they don't give back, then that's probably not a friend, that's a frenemy. And remember, the key to a frenemy is they don't make you feel happy, they don't make you feel secure, you probably just feel confused around them. Alright, so summing up, positive relationships. We're going to first of all work at our values. So as part of the workshop, you're going to get that paper or that sticky note and work out the 6 values that matter to you most in a friendship. And then think through your friendship groups and think, am I getting that from my friends? And also, am I giving that to my friends? The next part of your homework today is I want you to think about your own love languages. So for me, definitely physical touch and definitely quality time. Those are the two that really matter to me, but that's not the same for everybody. So out of those love languages, work out which ones are important to you. And finally, grab a piece of paper. This is your main homework. Write down 3 people who really matter to you. So take a minute to think about it. So I've written down my partner, my daughter, but I also have a friend who recently had a baby, so she's pretty special to me too. And then I'm going to think about the love languages that I think suit them best. Now, I might not know, and if I don't know, I'm going to go and just have a chat. It can be a really interesting chat to have to someone. And then I'm going to think of something I can do for each of these people. And I'm going to write it down. And I'm going to just stick that up. I don't have to put this one in my socks and jocks drawer. I want it to be out in the open, maybe on the back of your bedroom door, or if you've got a mirror in your house, in your bedroom, stick it up there. And then when you do those things, just tick it off. What you'll find is you'll feel really good about yourself, and the other person will also be really happy. All right, see you in the workshop, but for now, be free.